Laura held the small boy closely, and then lifted him up high, not knowing that he was really a grown man. The most cruel and insane man in the whole empire was then picked up by Laura, and a creepy, unpleasant old man was brought home. He had his attention on the little boy inside the cage, wishing to purchase him like a toy. Laura sat in the room, hearing the noble's more and more rude words. Anger grew inside her heart. The boy was the main prize of the auction. The host excitedly introduced him, saying he had a power that was very strong, but his special powers were now contained. Such a tiny child. His eyes were totally empty of life, like the prisoners on death row executed recently. Laura asked the knight, Kyger, for his cloak, then told him that he should call her brother. 3 billion, 3 billion, 500 million, 4 billion. As the price's bid went up and up, with a very loud crash, she cut right through the gallery's dividing wall, then started fighting all the mercenaries around her. She really wanted to rescue Oscar. Laura knew her own power was not enough to defeat almost 10 mercenaries. She just needed to keep them busy until her brother could arrive. He is the vice captain of the Royal Knights. She was outnumbered and knocked to the ground. A mercenary lifted his sword and then swung it down at her. Her brother, Keith, got there just in time. He angrily scolded his reckless sister. I will deal with you once we get back home. Then he went to chase the escaping mercenaries. Since her brother Keith was there, she did not need to worry about what came next. She used her sword to check the distance between the cage and Oscar, and then she struck with all her power. She smashed it all into pieces. The little boy stared at her in shock. Please come with me. I am here now to save you. He followed Laura as if he were in a dream. No. What was he doing? Inside of the carriage? Kyger, the knight, looked very worried. Young lady, you are far too reckless. That auction venue is the personal playground of the Crown Prince. The royal family was already unhappy with the Adaro family because they did not pay taxes. But even with that, Laura could not stand to see such a small child become nothing more than a toy for the nobles. He was born with such handsome features, but ended up in that place. Who can know what he has been through? Their looks toward Oscar grew more and more sympathetic, and this made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Kyger shuddered. He felt as if Oscar was cursing them with his look. Soon after, they arrived at the Adaro house. Laura was worried that Oscar might be afraid, and she was just about to explain the situation to him, when she suddenly heard a childish, but cold voice. Who asked you to interfere? Laura was stunned. Because he had been very quiet, she thought that he could not speak. Oscar laughed when he saw her surprised face. So what is it you want to do with me? Clearly, he had assumed that she was a bad person too. What kind of world must he have lived in to be so guarded against other people? Little one, I will not ever force you to do a thing. Oscar shook her hand off him. Stop acting like you are kind. He jumped out of the carriage, then walked to the forest. Laura followed right behind him. It's very dangerous this late. Where are you going? Seeing Oscar was not answering, she started to scare him. There are big snakes on the mountain paths. Those snakes are truly terrifying. Even I do not dare to walk on these paths by myself at night. Oscar turned back to her, annoyed. Hey, what is it that you want? But he tripped on a stone, since he was not looking forward. Laura caught him right in time. See? I told you it was very dangerous. Here. Are you hungry? Would you like me to get you something you can eat? Oscar's expression got worse. He was cursing her with his eyes once more. But Laura did not know. She did not know the one she found was not a real child, but was a monster who could destroy a nation with only his power. It was also he who brought the romantic empire to its highest point. The Duke of Eskarl, feared even by the great emperor, and so Laura brought him to her home. The little boy obediently cut his food, though she wondered which noble house he could be from. She had not expected that his table manners would be so perfect. This is some milk produced in our own territory. It is delicious. You should try it. He was not interested, but after he had tasted it, he was amazed. How is it? It's delicious, right? Little piggy, you are here stealing our food again. Her second brother had just returned. From seeing her brother's blood-stained gloves, she knew he had been very busy until just now. Brother Keith, thank you for all your hard work. If you know I am working hard, then please stop causing me trouble. But who is this child? This is a boy I saved from the auction house. Her brother's stare made Oscar feel uncomfortable. The two siblings were both just as annoying to him. Her brother Keith worried she exposed her identity. "Do not worry. I was wearing a big cloak, and also, I used the name of a mosquito." "Really? That was well done." Oscar was very confused. "What is mosquito?" "That is the name of a family who lives near us but has always wanted our land." Oscar thought that this plan was stupid after hearing it. "Even if you do all this, you cannot hide from the royal family." He muttered, "I think you are tired of living." The two siblings heard him very clearly. "Laura, did you give him something bad to eat?" Oscar, even after he had finished his bath and was sitting on his bed, still did not understand why he was just wasting his time here. His own plan had been going along very smoothly. He should have already burned those perverts at the auction house into ashes if it was not for her. Oscar sighed. Every time he thought about going home, she would follow and interfere. Even at this moment, Laura entered the bedroom. "Are you scared of the dark? I will light a candle for you. If you are thirsty, you can drink this." Could she really just be taking care of him? But the women he had met before were gentle at first, but in the end, Laura tied up her long hair. Then she suddenly turned to him. "Lie down." He clenched his hand, thinking, "If you come over here, I'll kill you." But Laura only reminded him that he should sleep. "The mosquitoes in here are very poisonous. You should really close the window. I will go now. Good night." Could she truly have rescued him without any other hidden reason? What a very strange person. He looked out of the window. Laura knew about a woman like the moon. Bright butterflies flew right into the bedroom, surrounding him with a soft light. They landed right on his arm. But the very next moment, these pretty creatures started to eat his magic power. Oscar frowned. "They are taking quite a lot of it this time." It seemed that he had wasted a lot of his energy. Outside the door, he heard the voices of the siblings. Laura was treating him just like a real child. She was still worried he might be scared or anxious. How very ridiculous. When they finally fall asleep, he would then leave immediately. But the Duke, Oscar, was proven wrong another time. He did not only fall asleep, but he slept very soundly until the morning came. Laura leaned by the bed. "Hey, did you sleep well?" Oscar got up right away, saying he must go back. But Laura said, "After our breakfast, I will take you to the blacksmith shop." This right away captured Oscar's interest. The Adaro family was known all over the world for their great skill in forging weapons. He had already observed this when he arrived yesterday. The weapons they had here were very well made. No, in fact, they were exceptionally excellent. As someone who loved war, Oscar naturally became very interested. "Isn't that just great? Girl, come closer. Do not be fooled by how I look. I can make weapons of that quality too." He would not doubt it for even a second. Those hands were proof enough for him. Seeing Oscar's great interest in weapons, Laura decided she would take him to see the blacksmith shop. She found a pair of shoes and then handed them to him. Oscar put them on without much care. The shoes were very loose on his feet. Laura sighed deeply. She bent down to tie his shoelaces. "Even if it is difficult when taking them off, you must tie your shoelaces correctly. Only when your shoes are fitting well will your body feel more comfortable and at ease." Oscar just looked up at her without saying a word, but Laura did not mind it. "Well then, let's go. We will need to cross a mountain to get there. I will carry you." Just then, she saw someone was behind Oscar. The moment he was discovered, that person grabbed Oscar, the child's body, and the anger from yesterday's ruined plan made the already unhappy Oscar want to kill. Fire sparked to life in his hand. Just as he was prepared to burn the man to ashes, Laura caught up to them. Why is she here again? Seeing he was about to be captured, the man in black had no other choice but to release Oscar and escape by himself. Laura worriedly checked if Oscar was hurt. He stopped her. "Don't worry about me. Go on, chase after that person. An intruder in our land should really be dealt with first." Laura told Oscar not to wander away and then chased after the man. But she did not expect that it was actually a trap. The Raffia family had ambushed her. Their main target was the child. "You do not even know who that child is. Hand him over to us now." Laura refused them without even thinking. "The child is not here, and no matter who that child is, I will not hand him over to you." She had made a promise to protect him. This angered Red Hair, just as he was about to tell them the boy's identity. Oscar walked out then. "My name is Oscar." Red Hair laughed. "You have come here just to get yourself killed." If you just obediently leave him behind, I might think about sparing your life. Facing the threat from archers, Laura still would not back down. Keep dreaming. What do you want? To be pierced by a great many arrows? Stop pretending to be so kind. You took the child for the exact same reason. Before he was able to finish, a whistling noise came through the air. Laura had just thrown something right at him. His face was now cut. Thanks to the spy you sent, I have one more arrow that I can throw at you. Next time, I will put an arrow right through your head. This crazy woman, Laura, shielded Oscar behind her. I truly cannot beat this many soldiers. But before you worthless people can finish me, she aimed her sword forward, her look determined. I will first cut off your head. However, if you leave right now, I will let you go. Get lost. This scared red hair. He had not seen Laura for a very long time, almost forgetting what type of person that she was. She always did what she said she would. And besides that, that person was there. He then ordered his men to retreat, but not without making some threats before he was leaving. The little boy peeked out, thinking this man knew his limits. Seeing they were gone, Laura sighed in relief. Although she had said those things, she was not confident she could escape without injury. She turned around to look at Oscar. Oscar? What? So your name is Oscar? The smile somehow embarrassed Oscar. Don't do that. She caught up with him and continued to tease him. But I am afraid I will be scolded. Why? The sword that I just threw was from Cairo. I should have thrown the spy's sword at him first. Oscar was very confused about who that person was. Soon enough, he got his answer, because of his very adorable appearance. He was then surrounded by a large group of burly men. The leader was Goro, and compared to his earlier silly behavior, they changed completely when they were forging iron. Laura suddenly spoke. Don't you think he is handsome? Although anyone can forge, to put your soul into it each time is not an easy task. Iron is forged by using fire, wind, and sun. And weapons made with passion. Even if rusty on the outside, they still shine white inside. This is just like people who are reborn from hardship. After she was done speaking, she invited Oscar. Would you like to stay at my home for some time? Before you become independent, you can learn all of these things. Oscar, during the tour a moment ago, had already memorized all the Methero forging techniques and their practice methods. He only needed to get away from this troublesome girl and then go back home. That was his main plan. But seeing Laura's bright smile, he seemed to not know what he should do anymore. Laura wiped the water off his face. You must be very tired today too. Would you like to go back? Take a bath and then drink some cool milk? He seemed to be charmed once again, thinking to himself. This is the very last time, Laura suggested. Let's play a question game on our way down the mountain. Oscar spoke up first. I will start. Have you always been this unaware? Laura admitted it. Frankly, this left Oscar completely speechless. How can a person like this exist in this world? That is just how our entire family is, except for my oldest brother. Now it is my turn to ask you. When is your birthday? That question is meaningless. Ask me something else. Why is that meaningless? That is the day you were born. Oscar's voice became much colder. I said those things are totally meaningless to me, because he had been hated since the day he was born. The Asker family possessed a very great power, but they also carried a terrible curse. So he did not need these useless feelings. Seeing him like this, Laura said with some regret. Then I will ask something else. Is there anything at all you want to do? I do have one thing. I just want to go back home quietly. All right. She would not ask him anymore. Laura's father, just like her, was a very enthusiastic person. Even his own way of showing his welcome was identical. He fed him. The eldest brother, Polk, worked in the royal court. The younger brother, Keith, enjoyed traveling. Laura was the third child. Even someone as cold as Oscar could easily see this was a very peaceful and happy family. It was completely different from his own family. The second brother, Keith, suddenly looked at him. And you, from this point on, you are also a part of our family. So when I talk to you, you must answer me. Oscar stared right at him, then turned his head away again. Being ignored many times made the second brother angry, and he shouted that he would teach him a lesson. Keith, what are you doing? This little brat here needs some violence. But in the next second, he was the one that got hit. Our family does not ever hit children. Then why did you just hit me? You are not a child, are you? After dinner was over, Laura took Oscar back to his room. How is it, though? A bit extreme. They are not so bad as a family, right? Oscar stopped as if he was thinking about something. Then he turned to her. Seriously? Not bad at all. That is wonderful then. You sleep well tonight too. After sending Oscar back to his room, Laura did not rest, but instead found her brother. Her expression became very serious. Brother, can you please help me find out where this child has come from? In the days after, Oscar enjoyed the kindness here, so he stayed. Oscar, is that a burn? Oscar did not understand. It was only a small wound. Why was she so worried? It turned out her brother Keith had once been badly burned because of her. I am not hurt because of you. He did not like seeing Laura so sad. It made him feel very restless. He used to think that noble ladies lived very easy lives, which was the reason she was so cheerful and positive. But she seemed very different. She had hard skin on her hands and big stretch marks on her arms. Laura did not try to hide her flaws. She was very overweight as a child, and was bullied and insulted for being that way. So she desperately tried to lose weight. After she became slim, those who had insulted her actually confessed their feelings to her. That person did not understand her at all, and was only attracted to her carefully maintained appearance. From that moment on, she decided not to get married. Although she spoke about it in a light way, Oscar could feel her great sadness. Even so, Laura was still just like a sword that has become soft and then reforged. Oscar could not help but wonder if he extended his hand, would she then accept him? Seeing Oscar not following, Laura turned back to urge him. What are you standing there for? Why are you not following me? Oscar avoided her very clear gaze. He noticed some flowers in the distance. Isn't the garden cared for? Laura felt a little bit embarrassed. Actually, I am a bit allergic to pollen, but I still really love flowers. She could not carry flowers herself, but could bring them for other people. She sneezed right after she finished speaking. The flower that was by Oscar's ear fell down. She bent down to go and pick it up. Her second brother, Keith, from not too far away, saw a scene that really shocked him. Oscar keenly sensed that Keith had now hidden himself. His own heart pounded like thunder. For the very first time, he became suspicious of Oscar. The way that Oscar looked at his sister was very strange, just like a wild beast eyeing its prey. He knew he had to tell his father. Meanwhile, back in the Imperial City, the eldest brother, Polk, was reading a letter sent from Laura. The second prince smiled. Only family letters could make you read them during work hours. How is Laura doing? Polk became defensive. Your Highness, please put aside your personal concern for my sister. But he did not know that his precious sister had already caught another person's eye. Laura looked happy. Wasn't that amazing just now? I have forged for many years, but this is the first time I've seen blue flames. How did they appear? The flames were from Oscar? Because he saw a man named Kagara with Laura. He temporarily lost his control, which made him feel very depressed. Laura noticed he was reading a history book about the Kingdom of South Bay. Could he be a genius? So young but able to understand such a hard book? Her eyes shining with curiosity made her thoughts very easy to guess. Laura's voice flowed into his ears, just like a clear spring. Actually, South Bay is a place I really long to visit. I heard the maple leaves there are very beautiful, but because of the man named Dick, we cannot see them anymore. Oscar quietly defended the action. The King of South Bay was not a good person. He was worse than Dick. That does not justify destroying an entire country. Sorry, Oscar. You have the same first name. It must be uncomfortable to hear. Is that the reason you did not want to tell me your name before? Oscar just buried his head in the book and stayed silent. Don't you worry. You are nothing like him. I heard that man is cold-blooded, heartless, and has a very terrible personality. But Oscar, reading like this for so long will hurt your eyes. After a little while, Oscar's muffled voice came. Don't you worry about me. He was quite used to such bad talk. In some ways, it was actually true. Burning everything that made him unhappy was his usual way of doing things. But it still hurt him to hear it from someone that he cared about. He could not help but look at Laura once again. You are injured. She did not even know when it had happened. Seeing that Laura did not care, he thought if only he had learned some healing magic. Besides South Bay, what else would you ever like to see? Laura thought about it for a moment. Rather than seeing something, there's something I would like to receive. Flowers. Oscar looked annoyed, as if saying you are allergic to pollen, but want flowers. Although Laura did not want to marry, her father was against her remaining single. If she had to marry someone someday, she wanted that person to propose with flowers. It did not need to be expensive. Even just one single flower would be enough. Only after she spoke did she realize how awkward it was to say these things to a child. She asked Oscar, "What about you?" "I don't have any." That was quite a firm answer. Although Oscar said he had nothing he wanted, he actually already had something that he wanted to own. He spent the whole summer at the Adaro house, which was against his plans, and he was about to spend the autumn there as well. Not long after that, Laura's father spoke to him in private, wanting to adopt him. He knew it must be because Keith had seen something that one day. "Count Montserrat, Otero, rather than being your adopted son, I want to have a different identity." Oscar began to think about the future. His gaze was focused on only one person. That was Laura. "What are you doing here? I was just now looking for you. The weather is very nice. Let's go outside and play." Laura extended her hand to him. In his own heart, he answered her, "Actually, I have been looking for you too." He did not quite understand this new feeling yet. The no longer calm beating of his heart seemed to signal a coming storm. Seeing Oscar not moving for a long time, Laura finally asked, "Oscar, are you not coming out? Is it difficult to climb out? Then I will come over to you." Oscar prepared himself to destroy everything, but he was discovered by the one he loved. Faced with Laura's accusations, Oscar woke from his dream with a start. Luckily, it was only just a dream. In his days, Laura's voice came from outside the door. It was the very first time he had seen Laura looking so nervous. Has something bad happened? Laura stared at him with a blank look. The next moment, tears filled up in her eyes. The doctor said his child would not live past today. She had not slept at all last night out of worry. Oscar looked at the teary-eyed Laura, only hating that his current body could not embrace and comfort her. "He will be all right. You should go back and get some rest. Instead of crying here, you should go back and pray." Even though she did not believe in God, saying this might give her some mental comfort. "Do not worry. That child will be safe and sound." When Laura was woken up by the maid, she heard the good news that the child had been rescued. Laura excitedly wanted to go tell Oscar. God had really heard their prayers, but the very moment that she opened the door, she was completely shocked by the scene in front of her. Hundreds of butterflies were surrounding Oscar. She raised a chair up to drive away all these butterflies, but it had no effect at all. So noisy. The moment that Oscar spoke, the butterflies all disappeared like they were broken bubbles. He looked very weak. "Laura, put down the chair. Are you okay?" Oscar sighed. "I am tired of hearing that. Calm down." First, Oscar had used his magic to save the dying child. Using his own destructive power to save another person was a risk for him, so he was feeling very weak now. But seeing Laura so worried about him seemed to make it all worth it. He refused her request to call a doctor. "I just need some rest." Laura did not insist. "I am sorry I came too late. I will not leave you all alone again." Oscar's feelings were very strange. Then came the sound of singing, gentle and melodic notes from Laura's mouth. Was it a lullaby? He was hearing one for the very first time. Oscar gazed at her. "So this is what peace feels like." The child had recovered in only a few days. The doctor was very surprised, because there was no record of survival for this kind of disease. Everyone believed that a miracle had happened. Today, the Count was traveling far away, and it was also the day that he should leave here. He said goodbye to Laura. "Do you really have to go now?" "Yes. I have already spoken with the Count. I promise I will come back soon." "You are not even taking a carriage. Even though you say someone is coming to get you, at least wear this. Don't get sick wherever you may go." "It is okay if you do not want to come back." Oscar sighed. "I will be back soon. And I have something I want to tell you then." His sister and other people must be looking for him, and he had not figured out how to make Laura accept his true form. Laura suddenly hugged him tightly. "You must come back." This was the most passionate summer of his entire life. He could feel that, even if this strong emotion were to melt him in the future, he would gladly accept it all. Laura had not expected that, on the very day Oscar left, Adaro would suffer its greatest attack ever. The head of the Raffia family, in the absence of her father and brother, ambushed their home. Laura put on her armor, shouting for all the children and the elderly to hide. She took up her own sword for the honor of her family. She would not ever back down. while Oscar was walking down the side of the mountain, step by step, choosing to walk instead of using his teleportation magic. He was unwilling to leave this place that was filled with his memories of Laura. Even his own clothes still carried her unique scent. He looked back behind him. By now, she should be resting, and the very next moment, Oscar keenly sensed something was wrong. He placed his open palm on the ground, feeling the strange vibrations. This was not the Count's carriage. The smell of fire filled the air. Something bad had happened at the Adaro house. In the very next instant, Oscar disappeared. When he teleported to the mansion, tall flames surrounded everything there. He looked at Kyger, who sat crumpled on the ground. "Where is my Laura?" Flames swirled around Oscar with his magic. His eyes flashed with pure rage. "Where is Laura?" Oscar was ultimately just one step too late. He saw Laura's fall with his own eyes. After she cut down yet another enemy, Laura's eyes had become empty. She murmured about her family's honor. Bodies covered the ground, unable to be told apart between enemy and ally. How many of them had been sacrificed? Her own body was also reaching its physical limit. The leader of the attackers appeared right behind her. By the time she finally noticed, it was too late. The cold metal broke through her armor and pierced her body. Her vision started to blur. Before her eyes there appeared illusions of her own family, her father and her brothers, and that young boy she worried about. In just an instant, blue flames swept through the area. "Please wake up." She sleepily opened her eyes but could not see very clearly. Still, she recognized the voice. "Oscar, it's me. I am here. So please do not die. I can't see. The battle was too intense." She used her last remaining strength to raise her hand, telling him to escape quickly. After she spoke, Laura fell silent. Oscar still stubbornly called out her name, repeatedly saying he was sorry. The moment he saw her fall, his S-class magic went wild. He killed every single person here, including the Adaro soldiers. The magical blue butterflies appeared once again. They surrounded Oscar and fluttered around, and then began to spread outward. They landed all around the Adaro soldiers. As the healing light shone brightly, Oscar's body began turning black, bit by bit, spreading to his neck and head. In no time, he started coughing up blood badly, but he still did not stop supplying the magic. He reached out his hand to touch Laura, but then finally dropped his hand. Raindrops began to fall as if crying for the passing of a life. Oscar never raised that hand up again. When Laura finally woke up, she was back inside her room. Her brother Keith kept a watch by her side. She anxiously asked if the Adaro family had won. "Was it you who saved me?" Her brother held her hand. "Adaro won. But actually, by the time that we arrived, everything was already finished. The attackers were completely wiped out. Yet all of the Adaro soldiers survived. Even the soldiers with broken armor only had small injuries. Those who woke up did not remember what happened. I heard you had the elderly and children leave first. That was very well done." After speaking, he got up to go call the doctor. "Brother, what about that child?" "He said he would come back to us soon. I do not know if he got caught in the fire battle." Her brother stopped without turning back around. Only after a very long moment did he speak with great difficulty. "That child has passed away." Laura was shocked. "Impossible. At that time, he was still alive. Isn't this cloak beside you his? It was found on you." "I found his body not too far away. He has already been cremated with all the others." She cried out loudly. "How can this be? It cannot be, big brother. Tell me this is not true." But all she got was a request to rest well. Laura could not believe that the boy who had smiled and told her he would be back soon had left this world. "Oscar!" She clutched the fitted cloak and cried out in pain. Her father stood outside the door. Her brother, however, was saying something else. "Please tell her the child is gone, as we agreed. We do not know if he's alive or dead, nor do we know his real identity. We have a lot of concerns. I could never let Laura exhaust herself by looking for someone who might be dead, or get involved in a very dangerous world. So let us keep it a secret." Since that incident, Laura spent a long time unable to get over her grief. She even named the child she delivered only one letter different from Oscar's name. Adaro annexed the defeated Raffia family. This year, everyone was working very hard to restore the territory. She also entered into the process of her marriage arrangements. Although her father and her brother said that it was fine, she knew that this was the fastest way to help strengthen their territory except for required social events. Laura spent almost the entire day in the blacksmith shop, as if she was trying to forget something important. Kiger looked at the young lady acting like this, and he felt a little bit heartbroken. It has been a year. That child must have gone to a beautiful place. Laura's eyes were very sad. Perhaps. Young lady, there is a new auction house opening up today. Would you like to go and see it? The new auction house was located in Quebec. The head of the Adaro family was supposed to go, but had an emergency. So Laura was sent in his place. Although it was summer, pretty maple leaves covered the trees. It was said that Quebec's master had close connections with the royal magician, creating such beautiful scenery. Laura remembered something. This was the place Oscar had recommended she visit, another city with maple leaves. They had even made a promise to come and see the maple leaves together. Now everything was different. She shook her head. She could not think about these things anymore. For the sake of her own family, she needed to pull herself back together. Kiger suddenly called to her, then pulled out an invitation card. It was sent by the family that was supporting the auction. The writing looked a little bit familiar. Excuse me, are you the daughter of the Adaro family? At this very moment, a guide appeared. Please follow me. Because they went in through the second door, the nobles waiting in line started to gossip. Who are they? Isn't that the foolish Adaro family? These gossipers did not avoid her at all. Suddenly someone warned them. Hey, watch what you are saying. Don't you see what she's holding? That is the invitation from the Duke. At that moment, the large door opened. Sorry to keep you all waiting. Please come in. Even just the garden by itself could be described as magnificent. Laura was led to the waiting room. The attendant reminded her she must wear a mask when entering the main venue at this time. Laura did not know this was an auction being held specifically for her. Big brother. Polk was seriously questioning the second prince. That is the Quebec family belonging to the Duke. How could you let such a dangerous family get involved with us? Calm down. A first crisis always coexists with an opportunity. An alliance with the powerful Duke family has no downside to it at all. If you have Duke Dick backing you up, doing anything at all would become much easier. He pushed away the second prince. We do not need that. Although that may be true for you. But you should look at your family's situation. If you had the Duke family's protection, no other family would dare look down on you again. You surely do not want your sister to be in danger again, right? The Quebec auction house belongs to the Duke family. If you could auction the Adaro family's goods there, your own family's items would also increase in their value. The Duke family is very interested in forming an alliance with you. Why not take this opportunity? This is a great chance. If you want to truly protect your own family, you must strengthen your family's power. The second prince, seeming to know something, smiled like a cunning fox who had gotten his way. So do not think too negatively about it. Perhaps Duke Dick will like Laura, who knows? A man, to please his future bride, spared no expense at all to host an auction. First, he invited the bride to the main seat at the auction, then bringing up mythical treasures one after another. The nobles who were attending could not even think about bidding, let alone have the courage to offer a price. Each treasure would require selling one's whole estate to get it. The nobles slowly calmed down and just appreciated all the items until the auctioneer finally announced the main highlight of the show, the very last item on the floor. Among the anticipation of the crowd, instead of a treasure, a mediocre arrow was revealed. The entire room was silent. What is that? It does not look valuable at all. The auctioneer smiled and then announced the starting price of just 1 gold coin. When compared to the previous items worth billions, this seemed very ridiculous. Are you making fun of us by asking us to buy this piece of garbage? Some troublemakers began to disrupt the bid with 2 gold coins. Then, only Laura recognized what it was. It was a divine weapon that was crafted through the sacrifice of dozens of master craftsmen. As a craftswoman herself, she absolutely could not tolerate such a great treasure being disrespected. 100 million gold. This was almost all the Adaro family could possibly offer. Even so, she wanted to bring it back home. The venue began to stir. Is she crazy? The auctioneer suddenly spoke up again. May I ask why you are bidding such a high price? Laura immediately understood the situation. The other person knew what this was. She did not hesitate. This is an arrow that would never break, even if the world itself were to end. Those who do not understand it might think that it is useless, but people who really know how to look at things will not dismiss something based only on its appearance. The nobles not only did not believe her, but they began attacking her. What nonsense. Who are you to talk like that? I am Laura Noy of the Adaro family. What, that stupid Adaro? You should go back home and hammer some iron, or just find a husband and get married. Amid all the chaos, someone suddenly made a new bid. 10 billion gold. I will buy it. A slender hand set down a wine glass. Isn't that Marquis Asgar? Laura looked toward the voice. Is that the guard of the crazy devil? Their eyes met, giving Laura a shock. The comments from people nearby began to change. Could it truly be a treasure? It cannot be wrong if the Marquis is bidding on it. It must be very valuable. The auctioneer had a professional smile, even though Ms. Laura could not get the item. You are the first one to see its true value. The spirit of the Adaro family craftsmen is truly passed on. It is our greatest honor to have such a perceptive lady here with us today. To show our appreciation, the auction house will present you with a very small gift. With your unique skill, I am sure the weapons made by the Adaro family are truly extraordinary. From now on, all items offered by the Adaro family will be auctioned at this hall. This was like helping the Adaro family open markets outside their own territory. Their family's products could finally be sold elsewhere. Even Laura's mask was not able to hide her joy. And from a short distance away, Asgar's lips also curved into a smile. Even after she had left, Laura found it very difficult to believe what happened. She did not just see the maple leaf item, but she also helped her family. It felt just like receiving a gift. S.A., are you watching this? You were correct. The auction house's maple leaf item is amazing. The carriage slowly drove off, but the person sitting by the window did not move his eyes for a long time. Asgar whispered Laura's name. I will come to see you soon. Laura's family had better days after receiving the auction house's support, but her brother, who knew the real story, was very worried. He worried that the madman's target was now his sister. He told Laura that she could refuse if she did not feel comfortable. But she had obtained such a hard-won chance. How could she give that up? Laura arrived at the most popular armor shop in the capital. The armor styles that were popular now were very ornate. They looked nice, but were not practical. The Adaro family, however, focused on practicality and being durable. Yet, due to how they looked, they were not widely accepted. She believed quality would win over looks. She felt people would soon recognize the armor's true value. Laura then saw another piece of armor. It was not only well designed, but it was also very sturdy. She knew it was forged by the Dwarf Kingdom. The shop assistant came closer. This armor is from the Duke family, and we imported it from Parthia. Asgar again. She seemed connected to him lately. Despite his great power, he mercilessly hurt innocent people. Seeing Laura staring intently at the armor, the shop assistant assumed she was worried about the price. If you think the price is too expensive, we also have some cheaper items over here. After Laura left, she quickly contacted her second brother. It was revealed the shop sold fake goods. They were using low-quality items and falsely claiming the Duke family made them. Laura asked her brother to make sure her report stayed anonymous. She did not want to become involved with Asgar. She was very tired from all the shopping. Laura located a tavern where she could rest. A large gulp of cold beer made her feel alive again. She thought about her brother Lint, who she had not been able to contact for some time. She wondered what kind of trouble he was causing now. At that moment, a person passed by outside. His profile looked very much like the boy, Asgar. Laura stood up to chase him, and she accidentally bumped into a person on her way. She apologized but did not stop. But by the time she got outside, the person was gone. That person looked so much like Asgar, but only a year had passed. The boy could not have grown so big. Did she see it wrong? Suddenly, a person roughly grabbed her. Hey, you bumped into someone and then just ran away like that. Laura apologized to the person again, but the man would not let it go. Is one apology enough? My shoulder is still hurting. It was very obvious. They only wanted to get money. This amount should cover the cost of medicine. But the man clearly wanted to get more. This small amount of money is not even enough for herbs. Give me all of your money now. Laura had planned to handle it quietly, just before she was going to teach the men a lesson. A man's voice came from behind her. We are meeting again. She turned around to look at him. The person took off his large hat, revealing a face that you could never forget once you saw it. Hello, Laura? But she did not remember that she knew this person. You know me, the thug who was ignored by both of them, suddenly moved. "We are not finished with you yet." Damn it! She had forgotten her sword. The man extended his finger, and with a snap, the arm that was grabbing her instantly burst into blue flames. The flames spread across his whole body. The thug cried out and started begging for mercy. Laura's eyes showed that she was afraid, as if she was remembering something. Asghar came closer, looking at the fallen man mockingly, said, "What a performance! It is only an illusion spell." Seeing Laura was still motionless, he reached out to her, but she unexpectedly screamed and quickly dodged away. Asghar was stunned by her reaction. Laura's body shook without control. She saw the boy who called for help in the fire. That small figure called her name repeatedly, begging her to save him. Asghar supported her, loudly calling her name. In her daze, she covered her face with her hands in pain. Could that day's events have created such psychological trauma for her? After Laura finally regained all her senses, she found she was already sitting inside a restaurant. "Are you feeling better now?" the man across from her asked gently. He raised his glass of wine. "Would you like to have a drink?" Laura shook her head. "No," Asghar smiled. He was not surprised. "It seems you like beer more than red wine." Laura had not forgotten the sight of him burning those people before. "What did you do to those men?" Asghar could sense her anxiousness. "Do not worry about it. They are all still alive." Laura was just about to say something else when a waiter came to the table. "Marquis, may I take your order?" Laura was so shocked. He was Asghar. "I do not need anything." "What about you, Laura?" She returned to her senses. "I do not need anything either." Asghar waved his hand and dismissed the waiter. Only then did Laura realize the blue flame was the Duke family's symbol. "This person is very dangerous. I absolutely must not provoke him. Thank you for helping me before." The man across from her did not seem as bad as the rumors said. He had a faint smile, and it seemed he could see her thoughts. "You do not need to force yourself. I have a good proposal for us to collaborate. Do we not have many things that are in common?" Laura had a "what common things" expression on her face. "We met at the auction house, and we both have a good eye for spotting treasures. And we share pride in our family's weapons and armor." Of course, Laura did not believe him. The Duke family had always gained its wealth from smuggling weapons. As if he were reading her thoughts, he put his wineglass down. "I have changed my mind now. Since I have taken over, we do not smuggle weapons anymore. Also, Laura, don't you think it is terrible how weapon shops sell bad armor for high prices?" They had very similar thoughts. Well, before she had a chance to answer, Asghar's smile deepened. "Yes, I also feel the same way. The Duke family has the power to change this situation. But we do not have experienced hands for making the weapons and armor. In short, we are lacking talented people just like you." Laura was very stunned. "Me? Of course, think about it. Working with me is not a bad thing." Seeing that he was about to leave, she put her hesitation aside. "May I ask, do you have a younger brother or a nephew or any other relative who looks very similar to you?" The man was quiet for a moment, and then he finally answered. "No. I mean, how could a coincidence like that be possible?" "I am sorry. I was just overthinking it." Asghar had not expected that the incident would affect Laura so very deeply. He remembered the past. Although their time together was not long, those scenes were still very clear in his memory. "What have you been thinking about? I came inside and you did not even notice me." He turned his head to look at her. "I did not allow you in my room. Why would I need your permission? This is the Duke family mansion." The visitor was Asghar's only sister, Tony, but the siblings' relationship was not very good. Asghar looked very impatient. "Say what you need to say quickly. I am the master here." "You are so boring. I was only joking." Just then, there was a loud noise outside. "What did you bring back this time?" "I saw someone who was tampering with our shipment of weapons, so I caught him. We will send him to the palace at dawn." But unexpectedly, that person burst inside the room. He called out to them urgently. "Wait, I really did not know that I was causing such a big problem. I was only brought there by someone." Asghar lost his patience. "Drag him away before I must take action." But when he saw the person's face, he completely froze. "What is your name?" He was sure he had not seen this person before, but his face looked very similar to Laura's. "Lint. My name is Lint Tadiro." Laura's always worried brother had been captured by Asgar's sister in this manner. He was trying every way to get close to Laura, but she always avoided him. In his desperation, he asked for advice from the girl's brother, the two of them single. One of them dared to make things up, the other one dared to believe it. Laura's first auction did not go very well. Most of the Adaro family's items remained unsold. Before she even had time to feel disappointed, the Marquis walked over to her. "Are these the unsold items from today?" Laura actually understood the reason why. Without beautiful appearances, they could not get the noble's attention. She planned to go back to discuss solutions with her craftsmen. But Asgar told her that she should wait. "In my opinion, these products will be recognized soon. Sturdy Adaro armor will get people's attention. And forget my last proposal." She had already planned to reject his offer before coming to the auction, but she was afraid of offending Asgar by doing that. Miss Laura must have many things she needs to do now. You surely want to focus on this auction first, correct? She thanked him quietly, surprised he was so understanding. Asgar suddenly reached out his hand, and he plucked a maple leaf that had fallen into her hair. "By the way, may I call you Laura from now on? I have been calling you that without your permission and feel very guilty." Laura paused for just a moment before she said yes. She did not understand why Asgar was being so nice, but her instincts told her to keep a distance from him. "My father is waiting for me now. I need to move some things, so I must go." Asgar still smiled at her gently. "All right. I will see you next time, Laura." He watched Laura's carriage leave. "Her guard is up so strong. How can I possibly get close to her?" Asgar remembered the boy he had met last night. Laura's brother, Lint, who should have been sent to the royal palace for his punishment, was now living very comfortably in the Marquis's mansion. And he was giving love advice to the man in front of him. For men, the most important things are looks and wealth. As long as you look very good, you will generally be well received by women. Then you must start the gift offensive. Give all kinds of luxurious gifts. And jewels. He took another bite of his cake. "But what kind of woman are you interested in that makes you ask me these questions?" "You are the Marquis Asgar, after all," Asgar asked in return. "Does your sister like all of those things too?" "Of course. Someone who is good-looking, capable, and very devoted. Plus, you will need some dazzling jewels. At least that much is needed to win my sister's heart. This is a common trait among girls. Brother, your looks are good. The rest only needs money to support it." One was talking nonsense, and the other was listening very seriously. Asgar told the maid that she should take good care of the boy. Tony was very confused. Why not just send him to the royal court? "The crown prince has already come and asked for him." Asgar frowned at her. "You told the crown prince all about this?" "Of course I did not. I do not know how he got the information, but he is insisting on taking the boy away." Asgar quickly understood what the key issue was. Although the Adaro family was not a very prominent family, their eldest son, Paleka, supported the second prince and was good friends with him. Haladin, who had always shown a very casual image, suddenly showed his skills, which threatened the crown prince. So he wanted to charge Lint with crimes to weaken the Adaro family's position. But no matter what happened, he would not hand over the person. "You will keep an eye on that boy." Tony was suddenly assigned a boy by her brother. "Is anyone there? I want to be able to contact my family." The uninformed Lint opened up the door, and he only saw the beautiful sister who had captured him. With his daughter now being targeted by the Empire's most dangerous man, the worried father began arranging blind dates for her. But the blind date was too forward and was seen by Asgar. He was trying to protect her. Laura looked with helplessness at the very enthusiastic man. Just as she was thinking of a way to politely escape from him, she saw a very familiar figure nearby. He seemed to be looking in her direction. Was it only her imagination? She saw the man starting to walk away. She said to her date, "Excuse me," and she chased after Asgar, the Marquis. He was rumored to be cold-blooded and cruel. After several meetings, Laura found he was not that kind of person. He always smiled at her when they met at the auction. He gave her much help, which made it hard for her to believe he was the scary person from the rumors. The man turned at her call. She greeted him first. "Good morning, Marquis." Asgar stared at Laura. "Good morning, but I am not sure if it is good right now." Was he unhappy? Seeing the girl watching his pitiful expression, he spoke again, but with a jealous tone in his voice. "I see that you have eaten well today. So energetic." Laura did not catch the tone of his voice, and scratched her head in embarrassment. "Is it that obvious? I ate an extra bowl of rice today." He had been upset seeing Laura with another man. This woman has not changed at all. Asgar's smile caused Laura to have another illusion of him. He really looks just like that boy. How could two people look so very similar? Why are you looking at me that way? Seeing that Laura was not answering him, he asked again. Did you follow me only to say hello? Only then did Laura remember. She came to return a silver key Asgar had lent her for storing goods. She fumbled in her pockets and realized she had taken out the key her brother gave to her. Not this one. This immediately caught the man's attention. Where did you get this key from? It is a gift that I received, so I thought that I should return the key that you gave me. Laura did not know that the key her brother gave her was really from the second prince, Helpless. But because Peleka suspiciously guards his sister from any man who gets near her, he had never told Laura who it was from. And busy looking for the correct key, Laura did not notice the man's expression had changed. I found it. Here it is. Asgar took it from her. Finally, he could not help but ask, what were you two talking about? Laura thought about the blind date. Though nothing was decided, there was no need to hide it. That gentleman is someone I am supposed to be meeting for a blind date. Supposed to meet for a blind date? Asgar repeated what she said. But his voice had become much colder. Laura thought he was really in a bad mood. Just as things became awkward, someone approached Marquis Asgar. I heard you were coming today and was surprised. Pleased to meet you. I am Avia Quebec. This was the Quebec City Lord's beloved daughter. Laura felt that she should probably retreat and quietly said goodbye. Asgar watched Laura, who gave him a good luck sign before leaving. His expression became worse. Meanwhile, Lint was talking with Tony about their siblings. You are saying my brother likes your sister? Impossible. Lint poked at his cake. It's obvious. He keeps asking me so many questions about my sister Laura, especially when he is talking about her. His entire expression changes. You must be just seeing things. That guy will not fall in love with anyone. He does not understand what love is or how to accept love from other people. Just as she was about to continue criticizing him, Lint suddenly agreed with her. You are right. With a beautiful sister such as you by his side, how could he suddenly fall for my sister Laura? Even if I traveled all around the world, I have never seen a beauty like you, sister. Stop all of that useless talk, little guy. I am annoyed enough as it is. If something happens, I will not care about Asgar's fate. I will hand you over to the royal court. That will not do, sister. Ignoring Lint, she did not believe Asgar had someone that he liked. So many beautiful women had surrounded him before, yet he never looked at them. But he had been acting strange recently, asking about jewels for a woman. She needed to investigate and find out what kind of woman this Laura was. The girl, to prove her shield was the best, made a vow at the auction house. If anyone was able to make her shield crack with just one single strike, she would give up all of her family's earnings from the auction today. But, unexpectedly, her challenger turned out to be the strongest man in the empire. The reason why Laura made this bet was that she had wagered with an old man before the auction. If she made her goods get the highest price, he would give her a shield from the Tarsi. If she did not, Laura's own shield would be his. The old man revealed a treasure chest. He was also from the Duke family. The Tarsi's shield was something her grandfather wanted to put in the display case before he died, so she really wanted to fulfill her grandfather's wish. Just as Laura was thinking of how to win the bet, she met Asgar. You are not watching where you are going. She quickly moved to the side, saying she was thinking of something very important. Seeing his questioning look, she explained the bet she made with someone. But halfway through, she felt she should not be saying this. To her complete surprise, the man suddenly cornered her against a nearby wall. Please continue, Laura. The girl completely froze in place. This distance was too close. Asgar seemed to know her confusion. Nobles all like things that are very eye-catching. They are actually quite simple. If you can prove the value of an item in front of them, Laura excitedly said to him. That is it. She just had to demonstrate the true value of the Adaro shield to everyone there. So that is what led to her personally demonstrating it on the stage. Among the doubts from the crowd, Asgar confirmed with her once again. Are you confident your shield can block my blue flames? The shield that she brought this time was forged using dragon's blood. It could defend against almost any kind of attack. This was why the old man wanted the shield and made the bet. But she was still very traumatized by Asgar's fire. Laura nodded her head. Asgar stepped forward. Now close your eyes. Trust that the shield is going to protect you. Laura looked at the shield in her hand one more time. She trusted herself and the honor of the Adaro family. For some reason, even though she was afraid of the blue flames, if it was Asgar, she somehow felt that there was nothing to fear at all. As the blue flames died out, the entire venue gasped in pure amazement. The plain-looking Adaro family shield had actually blocked the fire from Asghar. When the auction ended, she was surrounded by nobles. Everyone eagerly ordered shields and weapons from her. She saw Asghar quietly walking away. She apologized to the nobles and told them to place their orders directly with the Adaro family, and then she chased after him. Marquise Asghar, thanks to you I was able to win the bet. No need to thank me. It is the merit of your family's shield. When Laura won the bet, the old man, Tyrell, gave her the shield and the silver key. He knew this man was helping her. Asghar frankly admitted, "His name is Tyrell. He is my agent. Those things were arranged by me. So this key is yours now. But our bet was only for the shield. It did not include the key. I want to return it to you. If you feel you are indebted, then give me something else instead. Don't you have another key? That golden one." With that, Asghar took out a letter. It was an invitation to his mansion. "The Adaro shield I won at the auction. Don't you want to see it? Besides that, I have also collected many rare pieces of armor. Just coming over to see them should not be a problem, correct?" Seeing her accept the invitation, Asghar smiled and reminded her, "The weather is getting cold. Please dress warmly when you come." Soon after that, Laura boarded a carriage, and she arrived at the Duke family's large territory. They had said there would be a banquet, but since she arrived here, Laura had not seen anyone except an attendant. "The Marquis is preparing. You can look around first." Laura was immediately attracted to the rich collection of many items here, which included various treasures she had only ever seen inside of books. Finally, she stopped walking in front of a display case, attracted by the armored gauntlets inside until Asghar appeared. "Do you know the story of these gauntlets?" "I know a little. This is a gauntlet a blue dragon gave to a human woman, right? And it was named Raro after that woman," Asghar told the next part. "The dragon used the name Pull him off to walk among humans. After meeting Raro, the blue dragon fell in love with her and showed his true identity. But that woman betrayed him. Even so, he willingly accepted being exploited. In the end, he left this gauntlet and departed." Laura was stunned. "I did not know it was such a sad story." But Asghar did not think so. "I actually think that he was very foolish. Since he had all that power, he should have destroyed the ones who used and insulted him. Is using power to solve everything your approach to handling matters?" She wanted to ask Asghar but did not dare. "The banquet should be ready, right?" But his response was very unexpected. "I am not going. Why? This banquet was forced on me by my sister, and if I go to it, everyone there will feel uncomfortable," Laura said. "They won't. Rumors say, Marquis, that you are cruel and merciless. I have also seen you attack others without any mercy. Although I do not like your weapons business, you are much kinder than I had imagined. It seems you are mentioning more of my flaws than any of my merits. I am sorry. I meant that if you behave well at the banquet, everyone would change their impression of you." Asghar smiled at her. "It is okay. This banquet is not that important to me anyway, but I heard that your fiancé is coming." Asghar was very stunned by her words. "Fiancé? Yes. You actually believe those kinds of rumors? Everyone else believed that it was true. I do not have a fiancé because I have someone I like, and I am pursuing her." Laura was shocked again. Asghar could tell by her look what she was thinking. Laura indeed started talking. "Congratulations, Marquis. Having someone that you like is a very cool thing. Do you have someone?" Laura recalled her past. Some men approached her just for her looks. Others had hoped for a business marriage alliance with her family. But as for love, I regrettably do not. But I think it's a cool thing. If, Marquis, you sincerely express your feelings to the person you like, that person would surely open her heart." "Is that so? Then are you saying I am not being obvious enough right now?" "Yes. If you could be a bit bolder, then definitely." The rest of the words were swallowed by Laura. Why was he smiling so handsomely at her? If he smiled this way at the person he was pursuing, he would surely be halfway to his success. Asghar still smiled gently at her. "I will definitely keep your words in my mind." In the next few days, Asghar gave out gifts like he was crazy. Laura took a magic circle diagram and she asked Asgar to take back all of the expensive gifts he had given her, but the man just took it from her. He glanced at it, and then he smilingly burned it right on the spot. I refuse. Once he had given them, he would never take back any gifts. Laura really did not understand him. What is it that you want from me? Asgar stared right at her, and then he asked back, if I tell you the thing that I want, will you give it to me? Even if Laura was being very dense, she could see that the other person's target was herself. And this crazy man had completely followed the advice she gave him a few days ago, throwing sweet words around like they cost him nothing. I was captivated by you. By the time I came to my senses, I was in too deep. All of the goodwill and care that I have shown you are really my tactics because I want to possess you. But you never even noticed, so I have changed my approach. Now you are finally responding to me. Laura muttered quietly, this was not a good method. How is it not? This advice came from someone I trust. Laura's brother was living quite comfortably here. Among other things, the suggestion that Asgar should be sending expensive gifts was his own doing. She would never even suspect that her own brother had sold her out like this. So tell me, what is your ideal type? She seemed to be getting played by this man. It would be better to say characteristics that were opposite to his. I like people who are kind, warm, and gentle. While I am working on becoming a kind person myself. That's not enough. They should also know how to cook very well. Isn't that just describing me? I am very skilled with fire control, and my knife work is not bad either. That was not wrong. Everyone knew he was the best at killing and arson. Laura was going crazy. This was not the result she wanted. And he must be honest, and also law-abiding. So you like men who are law-abiding? I should be that way too. Asgar rose and walked over to his desk. Starting tomorrow, all of the illegal activities of our family will be completely reformed, and the weapons trade that you dislike so much will be stopped. Though the process will be quite complicated, but I will handle all of it. Anything else? Only then did Laura realize that Duke Eskarl was truly serious about her. As he was helping her get into the carriage to return to her home, Eskarl continued, throwing out even more conditions to entice her. Think it all over. I will give you everything that you want. Come over to play at night next time. The night view here is so much more beautiful than during the daytime. I will make you even happier at night. Because of the very sudden confession, Laura could not sleep all night long. That man's words had echoed in her ears, just like a spell, and it was making her very restless. She hugged her pillow tightly, trying not to overthink it. But his ambiguous words still faintly attacked her, and they occupied all of her thoughts. When she woke up, she learned from her maid that Duke Eskarl had already come to visit, and he had just finished talking with her father. Eskarl was preparing to leave. He should have performed well just now. Although the other party seemed nervous, he stated that if his daughter was unwilling, he would not agree to their relationship. As he had expected, he was still a father who spoils his daughter. He took a moment to look back. Everything here was the same as it was before. The seemingly foolish but very brave servants, to the maids who always had such foolish-looking smiles on their faces. This home that Laura deeply loved was the same as a year ago. He took a long time to recover after using his strength. It was only after he returned here that Eskarl first thought it was good he had saved them. A familiar voice called out to him. He turned and smiled at the girl. Laura was curious about what he had said to her father. Just as she was about to ask him, she noticed that there were flowers blooming all around them. She was about to have an allergic reaction to all of the pollen again. Eskarl noticed her discomfort. I remember that you seem to be allergic to pollen. Who planted all of these? Laura explained between her sneezes. It must be the new gardener who accidentally planted all of them. Before she could even finish, the man extended his hand. The bright flowers were instantly set on fire. Laura was stunned. Why did you burn all the flowers? Because they made you uncomfortable. Do you want me to stop? Of course. Then you must please tell me. She did not quite understand, but she did as he told her. Please stop. The blue flames were then extinguished. Eskarl smiled at her. See how well I listened to you? You told me to stop, so I stopped. And I have no intention at all of moving against your family. You do not need to fear me. It is just that those brothers of yours are a bit of a problem. Laura was surprised. You met them too? After I finished talking with the Count, they invited me to meet with them. They treated me like a dangerous flood or a beast to be wary of. I apologize on my brother's behalf. They are just too worried about me. I understand. After all, my patience is for my own purposes. If you still feel very confused, I can give you some time to consider it, slowly. But I do hope that you know that no one will ever love you more than I do." His eyes clearly revealed his determination to have her, as if he was saying, "Do not think about escaping. Just accept me. I will never, ever give up on you." Although Asghar appeared to be docile and quite presentable, Laura's brothers were truly dissatisfied with him, especially her eldest brother. He was certain that Asghar was just pretending to be well-behaved to achieve his own goals. Duke Eskarl, like a hurricane, would use all of his immense power to sweep away everything that was around him. He would never marry Laura off to such a person for benefits. When the second brother Keith saw the Duke, he was reminded of that child from before, because of their very similar appearance. So that is why sister is so confused. The Deke family is known to be the cursed family. This is the price that must be paid for getting such tremendous power. So it is natural that you are not loved. Use your power to help Mother get what she wants. The boy was suddenly blindfolded. He was then surrounded by warmth. "Asghar, you are just having a nightmare. Now do not be afraid. I will always be right here by your side." The man suddenly woke up from his dream. Coincidentally, a new visitor had arrived. The second prince brought him news that Laura was being arranged for marriage by her own family. As a good friend of Laura's brother, he knew very well, once Laura becomes engaged to somebody else, it would certainly enrage Asghar. It was better to tell him in advance, to prevent the whole situation from becoming completely irreparable. Besides that, he had always supported the marriage alliance between the two powerful families. "What is it that you want in exchange for this important information?" The second prince smiled at him. "Just consider this a greeting gift. It is not a big favor that deserves repayment. I just have a very small matter that I would like to use your power for." Meanwhile, Laura was on a blind date with the same man her brother had introduced to her. The man not only knew about the Duke's pursuit of Laura, but also said that he was not afraid of him. He was prepared to endure oppression from the Deke family. From their previous conversation, she could feel that he was a very kind and gentle person. If she decided to choose him, her life would probably be a very easy one, but she could not feel happy about it at all. As she was saying her goodbyes to the man, he suddenly grabbed hold of her. "Miss," even without Sir Paleka's invitation, "I have wanted to meet you since I accidentally saw your portrait. I have always—" Blue flames suddenly ignited all around them. "I suggest that you had better let go of that hand." Asghar suddenly appeared not far from the two of them. He glared at him fiercely. "If you do not want to be burned to death." Laura withdrew her hand from him. She knew how dangerous Asghar was and did not want this person to be innocently involved. "Please go back first." The man was still hesitating to leave. Asghar naturally stood behind Laura. "Why do you not listen to the lady? Didn't she just tell you that you should go back quickly?" After sending the blind date away, Asghar was casually saying terrifying things once again. Sending him away from here first was a very wise choice. If it had been just a little bit later, I might have already eliminated him. Laura had always disliked his way of doing things. "Please do not say such things so casually." Why? Words like eliminating someone should not be said casually. He did not do anything wrong, Asghar sighed. But the current situation seems to be too cruel to me. Laura wanted to say something more to him, but she was interrupted. "Asghar, please, you should call me Asghar, but for someone of a higher status than oneself, names are not to be called casually. Only lovers and spouses can do that. Moreover, the very name Asghar would remind her of that child, so she had to refuse. I am sorry. I cannot do that." For Laura, it was just a simple refusal of his request. But for Asghar, this moment seemed to confirm the curse that his mother had spoken about. He had prepared everything that the other person might want, but he still could not get what he desired. You will never be able to obtain any love. As his mind was severely shaken, a subordinate suddenly interrupted their private conversation. "What is it?" The messenger gave him the information using a code. It turned out that Lint had now been captured by the Crown Prince. "It looks like I will have to go back now, and about what you had said to me earlier, I will pretend I never heard it." Laura had not thought of refusing Asghar this way. She should not have agreed to her brother's blind date request. She had hurt someone's true feelings just for the sake of her family. But soon, she had no more time to consider these things. News came that Lint had been arrested for smuggling, was delivered to the Adaro house. Only then did they learn their brother had been in the Duke's territory. During this time, the Crown Prince wary of the Duke's power, had not tried to approach him directly, but he chose to station his own people nearby. As soon as Lint had left the territory, they captured him. Tony had been very careless, allowing Lint to run out of the territory. Just as Asgar was considering how to rescue Lint, a servant announced a visitor. "I said I would not see anyone, right? The person says they must see you. It is Miss Adaro." Laura learned of her brother's stupid act through the second prince. She came to apologize. She had just rejected this man. Now she had to ask for his forgiveness. But her brother's safety was much more important than anything else. Asgar ordered the butler to go and prepare hot tea. He then explained to Laura that it was to protect Lint that he had kept him in his territory. After all, the crown prince was dissatisfied with the Adaro family, who always stood with the second prince. But he had not expected Lint to be captured as soon as he had stepped out of the territory. The crown prince was now preparing to convene a trial for nobles. If he was publicly tried, the Adaro family would become a family that was involved in smuggling weapons, which would result in losing credibility and being unable to sell goods. Laura panicked. Not only would her brother suffer, but the family was also in great peril. Asgar suddenly stood up and extended his hand to Laura. "You look like you have just received quite a big shock. Would you like to go outside for some fresh air? The night air is very refreshing. I have wanted to show you around this place for a long time, and now you are finally here. Lord Duke, I am not in the mood for chatting right now." The scent of flowers wafted over. She saw a beauty that could not be described. Oh no, she was going to have a pollen allergy again. But after she waited for a little while, there was no uncomfortable reaction from her. "This is what I have prepared for you. I use special magic to make flowers that do not release any pollen. I have told you many times that I am willing to fulfill any wish for you. So, this time, please use me and my power. You can protect your brother and your family. So Laura, will you please marry me?" The crown prince used Lint, who was involved in the smuggling incident, to pin false charges on the Adaro family. Even though Laura's father and eldest brother Palika went to explain, the crown prince insisted on convening the noble trial. He wanted to make an example to show the nobility what happens to families that support the second prince. The trial began just as it was scheduled, even though Lint had no real motive to be involved in the incident. Due to the sudden and unexpected death of the only witness, there was no one left to prove his complete innocence, and the nobles were all looking toward the crown prince for his direction. Just as the jury was about to cast their vote, someone suddenly interrupted. "I hope that I am not too late." Second Prince Halidin arrived at the scene. "I would also like to observe and to learn from my brother. Is that all right with you?" Among the royal family members, very few nobles had supported the second prince. The crown prince was confident he could control the trial. "Of course, brother, you are a truly generous and very loving person." Halidin suddenly turned around. "What do you think, Duke Asgar?" The crown prince was utterly shocked. The Duke family had always only obeyed the emperor, and they had never taken sides between the two princes. Yet today he appeared in the trial hall. The Duke invited the person who was beside him. "Since we have been allowed, let us go inside." The person wore a ring. Appearing was a splendidly dressed Laura who took his hand. Even her father and brothers looked surprised. Seeing the nobles waver, the crown prince panicked. He had to stop this. "Duke Asgar, you cannot participate in this trial. You gave up the right to participate in noble trials long ago." "No, Crown Prince. Duke Asgar has the right to participate in this trial. He will be holding a wedding with me in half a month." Everyone there was completely shocked. Halidin glanced very sharply at Laura, but he quickly adjusted his emotions and turned to the Crown Prince. "Did you hear that, brother? According to our law, the defendant's family members have the right to participate in the trial, including families soon to be married." Although the nobles had unanimously agreed to suppress the Adaro family, no one at all dared to provoke the Duke family. After Asgar sat down, he asked, "Can we continue with this now?" The trial judge immediately began the proceedings. "Those who believe Lint Adaro is guilty, please raise your hands now." Not surprisingly at all of the nobles remained silent. He confirmed again, "Not a single person? Then I now deliver the verdict. Lint Adaro is innocent." There was some unrest among all the nobles. The second prince actually had Asgar as his powerful backing. They wondered which side they should be supporting. And everything Halidin had done was for this. very moment, his smile faded as he turned to look into the distance. There was Laura, who had breathed a sigh of relief, and Asghar, whose eyes only held her. From the moment of their engagement, Asghar's buying spree reached its absolute peak. No matter what his new fiancée tried on, it was all just buy, buy, buy for him. After all, his wife looked so good in anything. Laura grabbed the shopping addict. How can you just buy everything that you see? What is the problem? These are all things we need for our wedding. But even so, the spending is too much. Rather than this, let's first talk about our contract. Asghar looked steadily at Laura, and then he took her hand in his. All right, whatever you want. Although they were getting married, to be more precise, they had a contract marriage. Laura had not told her family the truth. Almost no one in the family, except her brother, approved of this marriage. Sister, I agree with this marriage. You little brat! How dare you agree when you don't know what it is? Lint's mouth was pinched, but he still defended his future brother-in-law. I have always said that Brother Asghar is a good person. He truly does like my sister. Palika suddenly spoke up. Laura, have you really thought this all through? Seeing his sister nod, he asked her again, not for other reasons. Do you know what Duke Eskarl might do to you? Brother, I have now grown up. I know you are very worried about me, but I know what I am doing. I hope everyone will respect my decision. For this marriage, it could almost be said he was taking advantage of her distress. Logically, she should have rejected his offer. But he gave Laura a condition she could not refuse. Just be his wife for 1 single year. Asghar took out the marriage contract. It turned out he prepared it in advance. It stated the two would live together, respect each other, and fulfill the etiquette and obligations between a husband and wife. There were no other excessive conditions included. She marveled at how favorable all of these terms were for her. Asghar smiled at her. How could that possibly be? I am getting you after all. Every time he was so straightforward with her, she did not know how to react. I have told you before I ask nothing else from you. I will fulfill my basic duties and etiquette as a husband. I hope that you will do the same. Speaking of their marital obligations, Laura recalled the maid's words and asked when they would have their children. Just thinking about what would happen after marriage made her nearly explode. Asghar thought that she was just feeling nervous. He placed his own hand over Laura's. Now this house is also your home. You can relax a little bit. Also, let's hold the wedding ceremony according to the Adaro tradition. The traditional Adaro wedding is held on Stone Mountain, so it is not lavish. Laura asked him, is that really okay? Do I look like someone who cares about ostentation? Laura looked at him silently, her gaze saying, is there anyone who cares about ostentation more than you? Do not worry. The man who is about to become your husband is not as obsessed with money as rumors say. Just as you are about to become the mistress of the Duke family, I am also the son-in-law of the Adaro family. I think it is better if we follow the rules of the Adaro family. Plus, that mountain feels very much like you do. Laura didn't expect him to be so considerate of her. I think that my eldest brother and my father would be very happy to know that too. Asghar suddenly remembered something else. That would be good. But they still seem to dislike me so much. In places Laura did not know about, her two brothers had both very amicably communicated with him. But he did not mind at all, and instead he felt very happy. Laura, I have so many family members now, real family members. This man, who was about to become her husband, made her think of that boy again, just like someone who had only just learned the word family. His still unfamiliar and hopeful tone inexplicably touched her own heart. Elsewhere, her eldest brother Palika was drinking late into the night. He kept calling out his sister's name. In her childhood, Laura had been mocked for her physique. He realized, from a maid's words, that as a brother, he should have protected his sister. Once again, he had failed to do so. Halidin sighed. With your demeanor, one might think that the sky has fallen. But soon enough, he could not smile either. The next day, Halidin received the Adaro wedding invitation. Thinking of the harmonious scene of the two standing together and Laura's smile, he felt inexplicably very annoyed. Everything was going according to his plan. If he had power, would Laura not have had to seek help from Asghar? He summoned his servant. I have something to ask of the Duke. Regardless of everyone's thoughts, the wedding was held at the Adaro estate as scheduled. Lint looked around. Palika asked, who are you looking for? I am checking to see if Sister Tina has come. Tony was standing not far away from him, watching him. The old butler remarked that Asghar was finally getting married. "You also attended his wedding today. Isn't that what family does?" Tony said stubbornly. "I am just here to laugh at him." Later, as the bride entered the area, the wedding officially began. To be precise, she had not experienced much with Asghar. But it was not little either. Yet the contractual marriage left her very confused. Just as the wedding priest was reciting all of the blessings, Asghar suddenly spoke to her. "Laura, you look so truly beautiful today. I even want to hide you away immediately, just for my own eyes." After such a passionate declaration, she could not hear anything the priest was saying. If she returned his feelings, would she be able to sort out her emotions after a year? With their vows exchanged, the wedding was completed with a very romantic kiss. They became each other's new family members. Laura left the Adaro house with Asghar and came to his other villa. He had planned everything ahead. When the servant wished the two a wonderful night, Laura remembered that they still had their marital obligations. Asghar led her to sit down on the bed. Then he bent down. "You have been walking all day in uncomfortable high heels. You must be very tired, since you do not usually wear heeled shoes." He seemed to have sensed her nervousness. "I have told you many times I will not do anything you don't like, so do not worry." Laura felt, once again, that this person truly did like her. She chose to respond to these feelings honestly. "It is okay." Asghar moved closer to her. "Really? I am not confident I can stop midway." If it was with someone who considered her and everything, she thought that it should be fine. Asghar kept calling out her name, professing his love for her, both gentle and passionate, which was making her feel that perhaps they could be together forever and ever. She hugged Asghar back tightly. "Please take care of me for the coming year." 15 minutes ago, Asghar had been obediently waiting in the carriage. His wife returned after a long time. He asked why she took so long. Laura casually said she saw something and handled it. He reached out his hand to smooth her messy hair. "Your hair is quite messy. Did something happen?" She said that it was nothing. Realizing their relationship seemed to have grown closer in recent days, along with their new physical contact, she could not help but blush. "By the way, I wonder what the people at the Duke's mansion will think of me." Asghar did not understand. "Why worry about that? They are all my people. Serving you is only natural. I do not mean work. The people, of course, feel completely different from the Adaro. They seem perfect, but they never smile, so it is hard to understand their hearts. They have guarded the Duke family for so long. I want to make a good impression." "I see. Then I will order them all to smile." Laura hurriedly stopped him. No, please do not do that." Asghar looked at her intently. "Even without me doing that, everyone there will like you, because no one could ever dislike you. So do not worry." The carriage stopped moving. "It looks like we have arrived." He extended his hand to her as an invitation. "Come, let us go to our new castle together." Her father once said, "By observing the attitude and atmosphere of a residence and its people, one could understand a person." She was very curious about what was deep inside her new husband's heart. Contrary to her concerns, the people here were very kind to her, even excessively so. The little maid's face was full of adoration. "Is there anything else you need? I heard from the master what you like. If there is anything else you want to try, please just tell me, because I will be serving the mistress for my life." This level of pure enthusiasm completely matched her own family at the Adaro estate. It was scaring Laura and made her want to flee. The little maid was named Milka. She was the girl Laura had happened to save on the road. Milka had been wary of her after she accidentally overheard the master confess to Laura. How heartbreaking for her master's first love. But within just 3 days of being rescued by her, she came to completely worship Laura. Her mind and her eyes were completely full of admiration. Such a cool and amazing person is actually our new mistress. A few days after that, Laura received a letter from her home. Although it was not explicitly stated, since they had just returned from their honeymoon, her father would not have written unless it was very important. Thinking about this, Asghar quickly volunteered. "I will go with you. After all, Adaro is now my family too. If something is wrong, I cannot stand by." Laura was so moved beyond any words. Her good feelings toward her husband had deepened once again. But wait, what's all that luggage behind the carriage? Back home, Laura excitedly hugged her father. Asghar remarked, "They are still as dramatic as before." Lint welcomed him very warmly. "Hello, big brother. It has been a long time." It turned out that Laura's father had written because a blacksmith at home had been injured. Asgard did not understand why there was such a big fuss over a servant's injury. Then he heard the other person say, Kyger wanted to forge a set of twin swords as a wedding gift for Laura. But a fragment of a special iron pierced his eye. Laura looked very worried. Will his eye recover? Asgard remembered this person. He probably had some romantic feelings for Laura. The only known way to remove the iron fragments was known to the dwarf race. In their family, only Laura knew the dwarven language. Laura understood and offered to visit Kyger. Asgard suddenly spoke up to her. I will go and see him. I know some healing magic and can help to buy him some time. Mainly, he did not want to see Laura taking such good care of someone else. Kyger's condition was very serious indeed. Thinking that he ended up this way while he was preparing a gift for Laura, Asgard could not help but sigh. He sighed and extended his hand toward the injured man. But he should not have been using his magic anymore. The butler had repeatedly warned him that a year ago, he used magic beyond his body's limits. If he continued this, his body would eventually collapse. But thinking about how much his wife valued the people around her, he did not hesitate and began the treatment. Laura anxiously waited for him just outside. As the door opened, Asgard walked out. I have eased his pain and slowed his blindness. If we can quickly find a way to remove the fragments, there is hope for a cure. Laura's suspended heart finally settled down. Unfortunately, Asgard did not tell her what kind of price he paid for this treatment. He hid his hand behind his back. The blackness once again started to spread from his fingertips. Before the sun came up, Asgard had already set out on his journey. The dwarf mountains were far too dangerous for ordinary people to travel. He decided he would go alone. But when he reached his destination, he found his wife had arrived even faster. Laura was happily chatting with all of the dwarves. He asked her in surprise how she could be here. His wife looked like a child caught doing something bad. I could not sleep and looked out the window, seeing you preparing to leave. So I just followed you. What surprised Asgard even more was that the normally hot-tempered dwarves who really hated all outsiders were completely unguarded when they were around Laura. A little dwarf girl offered her some fruit. Laura thanked her. But in Asgard's view, one should not casually accept any food from strangers. Just as he finished warning her, she had already put the fruit in her mouth. They are not humans, but they are dwarves. What if it has been poisoned? He moved much closer to Laura, and then he pressed his own lips to hers. The piece of fruit was stolen away. Laura's face turned red. She was stunned by his action. It was because the dwarf race had very bad relations with humans, so he was being so cautious. He was even suspicious of the food that they had offered to her. But you should not have taken the fruit out like that. So many people were watching us. The other man justified himself. Should I have just stood by and watched you eat it? Although optimism and positivity are your strengths, you should be more cautious, with dwarves or anyone else. At this very moment, an old voice came. Watch your words carefully. We are not as despicable as you humans. Asgard introduced him to Laura. This is Elder God of us. The elder looked at Laura and then asked Asgard, Is this your subordinate? No, she is my wife. Laura introduced herself. The elder said in a regretful tone, What a pity that you married him. Asgard surprisingly did not refute it. Laura thought they must have known each other for a very long time. The elder readily agreed to help them out, but with one condition. He wanted Asgard's fire. Their hearth was having some serious problems. It was possibly invaded by some humans. Asgard did not agree to it immediately. Not right now. I will need a day. The elder was very puzzled. Someone who does not even need to draw magic circles needs that much time? Just then, Laura volunteered. May I take a look? Asgard wanted to stop her, but heard Laura say, I want to handle this quickly and go back. I do not want you to bear this burden all alone. Then we will go together to check the hearth. You need to go in personally? I cannot let you enter that fire pit alone. Laura shook her head at his words. I am confident in this area. Moreover, I have endured your fire, which is the most dangerous in the world. Trust me. This time it was the source of the dwarven forge fire. The hearth was extremely large. Laura put on her protective clothing. The protective clothing would keep her safe inside for 1 hour, and then she must come out. Before she left, Asgard held her back. She knew that he was very worried. It is okay. I will be out very soon. Inside the large hearth, Flames were burning everywhere. Even though she was fully equipped, she was still having trouble with her breathing. Just then, she noticed a single blue flame ahead. This must be the flame that is the central flame that maintains the hearth. She tentatively reached out her hand. Surprisingly, the flame felt very cool. Suddenly, the flames ignited with her at the center of them. Intermittent voices came from all directions. She was then enveloped by large shadows. A giant dragon that was bound by chains appeared right before her. "Get out. Humans are not allowed to enter this sacred place." The next morning, a blurred image shows a young boy's voice saying he was sorry, making Leora wonder if it was Eskarl? Leora, with her long blonde hair and golden eyes, lies in bed, looking worried as she slowly begins to stir and turn. Eskarl looks very concerned, telling Leora she had been asleep for an entire week and asking if she knew how worried he was. Leora sits up, shocked to hear it had been a week, and immediately asks, "What about Kakar?" Leora learns from Eskarl that Kakar was fine, and that Godopov had made some medicine and sent it to the Adore estate. Good news arrives for Kakar, who was shown recovering his eyesight because the medicine had arrived on time, and they said he was recovering his eyesight. Leora sighs in pure relief, saying, "Thank goodness," happy that Kakar is recovering. Eskarl, still feeling the lingering fear, reveals how shocked he was to find Leora unconscious, and how he, quote, had almost destroyed everything in there. Leora is surprised to realize that Eskarl had come into the furnace too, because she hadn't returned even though an hour had passed. Leora pauses, then nervously asks Eskarl if he had seen blue butterflies or a dragon in the furnace. Eskarl confirms he didn't see anything like that, reminding Leora that they said she would hallucinate if she was exposed to the heat of that fire for too long. Eskarl stands up from the bed, telling Leora gently to get some rest. Leora watches quietly as Eskarl takes a few steps away from her, deep in thought. Lady Shani feels angry, thinking he pushed her out right after the wedding. She remembers Eskarl telling her to get out in a rude way, making her call him an inconsiderate jerk. Now, waiter politely asks Lady Shanoy if she likes her wine. Lady Shanoy looks annoyed because the waiter says the biggest news is about Marcus Dyke's marriage. The waiter then shares exciting news that the second prince is going to the Black Forest to find special holy items. People think the second prince wants to impress the emperor by getting these items from the risky Black Forest. Lady Shanu looks very shocked and asks what is happening. She tells the sweating waiter that she doesn't want to hear about Eskarl right now, calling him a punk. She shrugs, deciding Eskarl will surely handle things himself. She then surprisingly asks for gift ideas for a cute young man, which makes the waiter very confused. Lara is shown sleeping soundly with flower petals around her. She wakes up by herself in a fancy, sunny bedroom. A kind note apologizes for not waking her and wishes her a nice day. Lara holds the note and a white rose, smiling softly. A servant tells Lady Laranora that her breakfast is ready, and she replies, "Okay." At breakfast, the maid Melka explains that the Marquess made sure she got the same breakfast she used to eat every morning at Adore. Lara feels warm inside as she understands Eskarl did all this special setup for her. She then quietly eats her special breakfast. Lara, feeling curious, asks Melka what kind of person Eskarl is. Melka excitedly tells her that her question is not strange at all, which surprises Lara. Melka says it is normal for a husband and wife to be curious about each other, and hopes that if Lara likes Eskarl, she can work for her always. Melka praises Eskarl, saying he is handsome, perfect, and pays well, making Lara think that wasn't what she wanted to know. Melka pauses, then adds something else. She says he seems to keep people at a distance. Melka explains that Eskarl does not easily share his feelings with anyone. She says that Eskarl changed a little after he was badly hurt last year and after meeting Lara, who then asks if Eskarl was hurt. Melka explains that Eskarl needed a lot of care after being hurt, but before Lara can ask more, someone knocks. Lara then has a visitor. A man named Chiton says he is very sorry that Lara traveled so far to the Dwarf Mountain Range because of him. Lara kindly tells Chiton not to worry, saying he would have done the same for her, which makes him feel better. Another man appears, stating she is no longer Miss, and Lara is surprised to see Chiton too, asking why he came. The man asks why she is rude, but Lara proudly corrects him. He then asks Lara what kind of face she is making. He explains he just came to see if she was doing well and getting comfortable, then asks where the Marquise is. Lara starts to answer about Eskarl, then stops, thinking. Lara realizes she doesn't know where Eskarl went, even though she feels he is usually very open with her about his feelings. Later that night, a big, brightly lit house seems to welcome someone home. As a servant says, "Welcome home, sir." Eskarl walks through his big house, asking a servant where Lara is, and the servant says she is in her bedroom and might be sleeping. Eskarl softly thinks Lara must have been waiting for him. Eskarl watches Lara sleep, and he thinks about the Black Forest of Lie. The second prince tells Eskarl he wants to go to the Black Forest, not because he believes the holy items there are powerful, but to trick someone who does believe in them. He tells Eskarl that the emperor is getting weaker, so he needs to become stronger now to avoid problems later. He also warns that people who support him will also face trouble if he doesn't succeed. Eskarl is shown gently holding a sleeping. She sleeps well in her bed, and Eskarl stands nearby, looking at her gently. His face turns soft with a gentle smile as he quietly says Lara's name. A carriage rattles along, Lara carrying a letter. Lara receives a letter from Chiton, who talks about her asking about blue butterflies, or a blue dragon. Chiton's letter says he does not know much, but shares that blue butterflies are evil spirits from Suspen that suck life force. He kindly sends an entry pass to the palace library, suggesting Lara look for more information there. Lara looks outside to see the big and grand Lomanic Palace, where they just got to. Inside the palace, a worker confirms Lara's pass is good. Lara is kindly told she can go inside the palace. Lara walks into the huge library, amazed, thinking all the books in the world must be there. She thinks about where to find books about Suspen. Lara works hard to search through many tall bookshelves to find the right books. Feeling upset, Lara leans on a shelf, loudly saying she cannot find anything. Suddenly, her eyes land on a book titled Suspen, and she remembers Eskarl. In a sweet memory, Lara is in bed with Eskarl and asks him if he cares about Suspen, the place he grew up. Eskarl asks if reading about it is enough, saying she already read many books on Suspen. Lara pulls her blanket closer, gently saying there is still more she wants to know. Lara softly tells Eskarl she wants to understand what kind of place Suspen was to him, because it is where her husband grew up. Eskarl listens closely, looking thoughtful. Suddenly, Eskarl pulls Lara close, surprising her with his hug. Lara looks up, surprised, and quietly calls Eskarl's name. Eskarl smiles and promises to show her Chelspen soon. She looks confused and asks what Chelspen is. A big sword is shown as Eskarl explains Chelspen is the most famous sword in Suspen. Eskarl says he owns the sword, which is hard to control, but he thinks Lara could make it listen. Back in the library, Lara thinks that even though Chelspen isn't about the dragon or butterflies, maybe they are connected somehow. Lara is still holding her book when she hears someone walking nearby. She looks up, her eyes wide with surprise. It is Prince Hazen, who looks very grand and greets her warmly, saying it has been a long time. Lara bows and calls him Your Majesty, but Hazen playfully tells her to treat him like a friend, as she did before. Lara asks if he is also looking for a book. Hazen turns and says he is not really looking for a book, but just wants to clear his head. Hazen says he feels more at home in the library than in a busy party room, and Lara quietly notices he smells of alcohol. Hazen, seeing her, asks if she was looking for books about Suspen since she is in that part of the library. Lara is surprised when Hazen shares that his mother was from the Suspen family and that he respected their wise magic users. She thinks that she knew Prince Hazen's mother was pretty with silver hair, but this is the first time she heard she was from Suspen. Lara quietly says Marchioness Dyke, thinking about the new information. Hazen looks at her seriously and asks what she would wish for if she were given power. Lara struggles to answer, saying she is not sure and has never thought about it. Hazen leans closer, telling her to think about it now, since she is now a Marchioness. Lara looks thoughtful, still seeming unsure about wanting power. She tells Hazen strongly that she does not want anything like that. Lara smiles kindly, explaining she would be like a thief if she took power that way. Lara says she wants to live an honest life, doing good things, and becoming a better person. Hazen then asks if it is okay to open the window, and Lara quickly agrees. Hazen opens the window, and a fresh breeze with sunlight comes into the room. He turns and says he is sorry because he suddenly felt warm. A sudden rush of air seems to surprise Hazen, who looks shocked. Lara smells a faint scent carried by the wind. Hazen looks confused and calls out Marchioness Dyke's name. Lara, with a small inner thought of oops, seems to suddenly understand something. Lara quickly acts surprised, excitedly saying she was just amazed by how beautiful the view was. Hazen looks at Lara with a small, gentle smile. Hazen agrees that it is true, while Lara quietly tells herself not to guess what the smell is yet. Hazen touches his face, feeling a sudden warmth, and wonders if he drank too much. Hazen then realizes with a shock that the warmth he feels is not from alcohol, and as Lara watches, he thinks he has completely lost his mind. A dazzling, shiny sword appeared, proudly held up the glowing dagger, declaring, "This is a really fine dagger." He carefully admired the dagger, explaining he could spot a good weapon and knew she picked it out well. But Shinny looked quite annoyed, internally referring to him as "this punk," with a little HMPH sound. Back inside, the girl slammed her hand down, overwhelmed by an infuriating feeling. She looked really upset, wondering to herself why she was getting so annoyed. Suddenly, a man appeared, making the girl jump, and ask what he was doing there, as he wisely commented that was youth for them. He calmly explained he came to see her because she had said Eskarl had kicked her out, but she complained loudly that her new home was so shabby and could not compare to the Grand Dyke Palace. The old man just looked at her, and she asked if he had come there just to see the house. He then told the girl, named Shinue, that it seemed her brother was bringing danger upon himself again. Back in Kingdom, Lara asked A about blue butterflies, and he replied they were extinct creatures from an old kingdom. She looked thoughtful, realizing that was right, when reminded that creatures from Suspend died if they left. Eskarl confessed he sometimes felt envious of those people who had powerful spirits. As Laura rode in a carriage, she felt a little disappointed she had not been able to find a clear lead on her search. She let out a soft "ha!" resting her chin on her hand, looking quite pensive. Upon her return, a maid welcomed Lady Laranora back. Laranora asked a maid where Eskarl was, learning he had not returned but had left a message for her to eat without him. She noticed a commotion and asked what was going on, as a servant looked distressed, saying it was a problem. The maid explained that the ladder they were using was broken. Laranora decided to take action, walking away with a determined step, surprising the maid who called out to her, addressing her as "my lady." Laranora discovered a foldable ladder, exclaiming, "Aha! This was a foldable ladder." She asked about the ladder's problem, and a servant explained it did not stay put when unfolded. The head servant apologized for worrying her and said they would clear this out right away. Laranora reached out her hand, making a servant questioningly call out Lady Laranora. With a bright smile, she confidently asked if they could hand her the tools. The now fixed ladder glowed with newness, making everyone to exclaim, "Wow!" The servants praised the ladder, saying it looked even sturdier, and Laranora humbly added she had done some maintenance while fixing it up. But the butler looked anxious, asking Laranora to let them do such work, worrying about her injuring her hand. Laranora reassured him, showing her hands and saying she was used to harsh work and felt good using tools again. The servants looked completely stunned by her words. A maid named Melka admired Laranora, effusively saying Lara was so amazing, only to be gently corrected by the butler about her title. Eskarl smiled warmly, saying he had just gotten back and asked if he had missed dinner. Seeing her work, Eskarl generously offered Laranora the ability to manage the Dyke family ledgers, dependents, and residence management. Laranora asked if that was all right, and Eskarl confirmed, saying of course, and adding she was now the lady of the Dyke house. Eskarl showed her something, and Laranora looked surprised, asking what that was. It was a blueprint, and Eskarl explained it was the blueprint for the forge she would be using there. Eskarl looked at her, simply addressing her as Lara. A flashback showed a younger Lara happily forging with a child, recalling that whenever she was stressed, she would always go hammer something. Laranora smiled gratefully at Eskarl, thanking him for everything, and he said she could continue auction housework if she wished. She felt overwhelmed by his kindness, wondering what she could give in return, as Eskarl rose and declared there was only one thing she could give him. Looking deeply into her eyes, Eskarl simply stated he wanted her. Their hands met, her hands gently covering his. Eskarl leaned in close, sharing a tender kiss with Laranora. After the kiss, Laranora looked thoughtful, her expression a mix of emotions. Eskarl informed her that he would have to leave for about 2 weeks, making Laranora question what and where he was going. He then gently stroked her cheek and hugged her, promising to be back soon, and wishing to spend time together until then. As she hugged him, Laranora thought he was not telling her where he was going, accepting it since they were only living together for a year. A strange feeling of anxiety washed over Leonora as she smelled sulfur while she hugged him, wondering why something felt off. Leonora rests peacefully. A gentle moment unfolds as Eskarl leans over her, looking at her with affection. She tenderly caresses his face, showing her deep care. The next morning, Eskarl's hand extends, offering an invitation to come here and signaling to extend one's own hand in return. He held the woman's hand, asking if she was ready, and she bravely responded yes. They step into a dark, torch-lit basement hallway, with faint, sparkling light. Their steps echo on the floor as he explains the dangerous magic that turns things to dust, or worse. Leonora looks concerned as the man mentions the chimera that devours intruders. She bravely asks how, when told the magic was inactive for her, curious about his power. Eskarl smirks, revealing his secret. He had been casting magic on her every night to protect her. She reacts with wide-eyed surprise and a blush as she finally understands. An ancient, powerful sword named Chelspin stands on display, a sole treasure from a fallen time. Leonora is amazed by the sword, but worried about using Eskarl's treasure. Eskarl kisses Leonora's forehead gently, assuring her that she was his treasure now, making the sword's value secondary. Eskarl kindly tells Leonora not to be scared, encouraging her to approach the powerful sword. Leonora slowly walks towards the glowing pedestal where Chelspin awaits. As she reaches for the sword, a feeling washes over her, making her wonder what it was this time. Startled, Leonora holds the sword, realizing something unusual is happening. A voice cries out from the sword, pleading to be turned into ashes instead, leaving Leonora wondering if this was real. Leonora is shocked to realize it was the voice of Chelspin, who lamented being the only one left. Chelspin expresses a deep weariness to Eskarl, saying it wanted to rest now. The sword is surprised, asking if Leonora could hear it, and Leonora simply nodded her head. Chelspin exclaimed that it was impossible and demanded to know who Leonora was. Eskarl watches as Chelspin continues to question how Leonora could hear it. The sword finally recognizes her, realizing she must be Leonora, Eskarl's wife. Chelspin expresses disbelief that punk got married, and confirmed the chattering from the kitchen about Eskarl's love was true. Leonora reflects, feeling sympathy that the sword had been all alone ever since Sussman fell. Emotional, Leonora turns to Eskarl, ready to speak her mind. She respectfully tells Eskarl that she did not wish to wield Chelspin without its permission. She passionately asks Eskarl to give the sword the freedom to do as it wished, understanding its desire to escape loneliness. Eskarl looks at Leonora with soft eyes, saying her name, Lara. He then simply says, "Please," asking for her understanding. Later, Leonora apologizes to the sword, saying she was sorry Chelspin, and explaining that Eskarl would still think about it. Chelspin comically reacts with outrage, calling Eskarl that gloomy bastard, to Leonora's surprise. Leonora, in a cute, determined way, promises she would do her best to convince him. The sword deviously suggests she could just accept it as his gift, then declare it hers and set it free. Leonora, momentarily captivated by the cunning plan, thought, "Oh, that's a good idea," while the sword wondered what was with this girl. A wave of guilt washes over Leonora, as she realizes such a plan would mean she would have to lie to Eskarl. Standing firm, Leonora declares she cannot use someone's goodwill just to get what she wants. The frustrated sword snaps, commanding Leonora to follow it to the rooftop. Under a clear blue sky, Chelspin asks if Leonora truly understood why Eskarl hid it down in that basement. On the rooftop, the sword challenges her, asking if Leonora could still be a goody two-shoes after seeing its truth, leaving her shocked. The sword checks if she was listening, and Leonora quickly replied, "Ah, yes." Chelspin then boldly instructs her to try to grab it, leaving Leonora looking confused. Leonora hesitates, asking if it was okay to grab it, to which the sword impatiently retorted that it hated dealing with romantic punks. Apologizing, Leonora quickly dashes forward to obey the sword's command. Leonora firmly grasps the sword, which begins to glow with an intense magical light. Leonora flinches, clearly overwhelmed by the powerful energy emanating from the sword. Surrounded by crackling purple energy, Leonora feels the sword's heat and strong living force, realizing this was the power of Chelspin. The sword asks what Leonora thought, stating that not just any normal person can wield this power. Chelspin dramatically reveals the corrupting nature of its power. With images of blood and madness, warning that if one has it in their grasp, even the most righteous person can lose their sense of reason, before challenging Leonora to show it her true colors. Lara gazes intently, filled with wonder, muttering to herself about such amazing power. She then gently releases the sword, thanking it, saying its power was amazing to behold, which makes Chelspen wonder, what's with this girl? Lara notices the sky darkening, wondering, I wonder if it's going to rain soon, as the sword stands by. Chelspen boldly tells Lara, hey, grab me again. Surrounded by fiery energy, Chelspen points to an island, promising Lara, I'll show you just how great my power is. Lara looks calmly at the sword, seemingly unimpressed by its fiery display. Chelspen vibrates with frustration as Lara simply says, I can't do that, making the powerful sword exclaim, what? Lara sternly points at the sword, explaining it's not right to swing a sword for no reason, adding, it would be big trouble if someone got hurt. Chelspen grumbles, calling Lara a dyke and thinking, if you're a dyke, just act like a dyke and do whatever you please. Lara closes her eyes, firmly stating that even if I'm a dyke, hurting or destroying things for no reason is something I can't do, emphasizing, being a dyke doesn't give me a free pass to do anything I want. Lara reassures Chelspen, saying, you don't have to go out of your way to show me, and suggests, want to go see some more of the scenery? As the clouds clear. Chelspen, feeling misunderstood, boasts that it's even slain giants, and that they were all just small fry. With a gentle smile, Lara tells Chelspen it is precious too, and wishes it would enjoy yourself from now on, rather than wishing you'd disappear. Chelspen, suddenly serious, asks Lara if she is being threatened by the Dyke family or something. Lara is utterly startled as Chelspen asks her, what is a kid like you doing here? And if Eskarl is keeping you here against your will? Chelspen's image turns menacingly dark and bloody, directly asking Lara, should I kill Eskarl for you? Lara's face contorts in shock and horror, completely overwhelmed by the sword's extreme suggestion. Eskarl smirks from a distance, having listened in, realizing, I knew it. It likes Lara. A respectful servant steps in, informing Marcus Dyke that you must prepare for your departure now. Eskarl calmly replies, all right, preparing to leave after this surprising events. He walks away, thinking he can leave feeling a little more at ease now that he understands Chelspen's attachment to Lara. Eskarl left the castle the next day, highlighting a tender moment of him embracing Lara before he departs. He smiles warmly, bidding Lara farewell with a gentle, I'll be off now, Lara. Lara sadly nods, thinking to herself, this is the first time since the wedding that we'll be apart for so long. Lara watches Eskarl wave goodbye, feeling a pang of sadness as she thinks, and we only have 1 year together. Back inside, Chelspen asks Lara, do you know what that punk Eskarl was like? Claiming, he was more of a monster than I am. Chelspen dramatically complains, it's a tragedy that such great power was given to a heartless bastard like him. Chelspen gleefully boasts, though my power is even greater, of course, making Lara think, that sword is so chatty. Lara decides Chelspen must know more about Eskarl, thinking, I'm sure, that Chelspen would know much more about Eskarl, and gently asks if it's listening. Lara, sitting gracefully, bravely asks Chelspen, what kind of people were the previous Marquess and Lady Dyke? Chelspen instantly responds with disgust, declaring they were just trash. Chelspen describes the Dykes' terrible history, stating, the Dykes made their money by trading weapons on the black market for generations. Chelspen's words turn grim, stating that the punk Eskarl won't be able to escape hell when he dies either. Chelspen urgently advises Lara, so you should run away as quickly as you can. Chelspen warns that he might be calm now, but he's someone who burns anything that gets in his way. Lara looks down, shaking her head, quietly asserting, he won't do that. Lara places a hand on her heart, confidently declaring, there's no way Eskarl would hurt me. Chelspen pushes back, asking, what do you see in Eskarl that makes you so sure? And tells her, I've known him longer than you have. Lara held her fist, a realization hitting her. That's right. Eskarl has never told me anything like this. Lara sits alone, her head bowed in thought, realizing, whenever I asked him, it felt like he was hiding something. Lara lifts her head, a glimmer of hope in her eyes, confidently concluding, Eskarl respects me. That much I'm sure of. Chelspen sighs, calling Lara stubborn, and warns her that Eskarl is not someone who was raised in a normal household, comparing it to a ticking time bomb. Lara's eyes widen in surprise and concern, asking, "He didn't grow up in a normal household? What are you talking about?" Chelspen reveals Eskarl grew up being hit and abused each night by his drunk parents. Chelspen continues, explaining his parents' fear of his gifts led them to raise him like livestock, not even feeding him. Chelspen concludes the dark history, stating grimly, and as a result, he became a monster. Chelspen begins to reveal more horrifying details, saying Eskarl's mother ended up committing suicide, and that he basically killed his Chelspen suddenly cuts itself off, telling a horrified Lara to, "Never mind. Pretend you didn't hear that," as she covers her mouth in shock. Lara thinks, "This is something so horrible, I can't even imagine it," while Chelspen wonders, is she really scared this time? With renewed determination, Lara rises, gripping Chelspen, stating he has something to do. On the other side, a mysterious hooded figure steps cautiously through a quiet, twilight forest. The figure's foot cracks something on the ground, making a loud sound. Blue flames erupt from the figure's hands, revealing man with a fierce gaze. Trapped by dark vines, 3 men desperately beg the cloaked figure for help, acknowledging his unique fire. One captive man frantically promises hidden treasures he found in the forest, if only he is saved. Eskarl notices a shield and wonders if they are Hogaren's henchmen, assuming more are nearby. He realizes these are men from Hogaren, enemies known for plundering, who likely dared to come for holy relics. He thinks of his wife, who believes that good will always triumph over evil. He tells the trapped men he cannot save them because they are evil and not honorable nobles. He then turns and walks away, leaving the desperate men behind. As screams and cracks echo, the cloaked man's eyes glow, looking determined rather than empathetic. On the other side, a strong hand holds a hammer that just made a loud clang. Lana wipes sweat from her brow, looking tired from her work. Standing on a ladder, Lara works diligently on a wall, as someone comments that she is making things difficult for herself. Patterns are being carved into a massive castle wall, and someone expresses disbelief that Lara is engraving it all by herself. Lara laughs, acknowledging the criticism about doing the immense work herself when she could easily call for help. She reflects sweetly, thinking that this personal effort is a meaningful gift for all that Eskarl has done for her. Suddenly, tender memory appears. Eskarl gently holds Lara's hand, expressing his wish to look at flowers with her. Lara walks with Eskarl in a beautiful garden, surprised when he suggests they look at flowers, and he affirms. Eskarl smiles, expressing his wish to see all sorts of flowers with Lara, beyond just the special ones in their garden. Lara looks heartbroken, thinking if only she weren't allergic to flowers, she could fulfill Eskarl's wish. Back at work, Lara stands firmly, determined to do at least this much for him. Lara looks up thoughtfully, recalling how Eskarl once created special flowers that did not emit pollen. Just for her, she did this for him. Outside the castle, the magical purple sword warns Lara to escape while Eskarl is away, promising its protection. Lara argues with the animated sword, Chelspen, stating she has no reason to run from Eskarl, while Chelspen insists he is dangerous. Lara tries to defend Eskarl, suggesting the king he defeated was even more evil, but then she abruptly stops as a memory stirs. Lara is confused, realizing she heard similar harsh words about the king of Suspen, describing him as even more heinous than the villain himself. Her hammer drops to the ground with a heavy thunk, indicating her distraction. Lara looks down at the fallen hammer, and Chelspen the sword asks if she is upset because it keeps speaking ill of Eskarl. She looks troubled, realizing she almost forgot about him, and quickly retracts her previous words. Lara turns to Chelspen the sword, calling its name, and it responds with a curious inquiry. She looks seriously at Chelspen, asking if there were many children in Suspen who looked like Eskarl or had similar hair and eyes. Chelspen states clearly that Eskarl's unique appearance is not common at all. Lara looks dejected at the answer, causing Chelspen to worry about her sudden low spirits. Chelspen tries to cheer Lara up, reminding her that she is interested in the history of Suspen and the Dyke family. Chelspen, the sword, offers to share its memories of the race war and explain how the Dyke family earned their notorious reputation. Chelspen reveals how Suspen and the Dyke family joined forces to fight against dragons, deeply surprising Lara. The scene shifts to a fiery flashback where humans, envious of dragons, began hunting them, leading to a massive war between Suspen and the dragons. Chelspen recalls being wielded by a dizzy soldier at the time, who was terrified by the sight of dragons. The soldier holding Chelspan is overwhelmed and unresponsive, causing the sword to lament that he couldn't even hear its voice. He urged the faltering soldier to hurry and wreak havoc, but the soldier only screams, making the sword frustrated and call him a punk. Chelspan lied abandoned on the chaotic battlefield, wondering about its foolish wielder, when suddenly a new figure appears. A mysterious figure's boot stepped into view, approaching the discarded sword. A hooded figure, identified as Duke, Eskarl's ancestor, stands tall on the battlefield, a pivotal presence. Duke, the pivotal force of the Duke family, walks determinedly towards where the dragons were, as he was bound to appear in this war. Amidst bright flashes, the agonizing screams of the last dragons echo, cursing Duke as a traitor. Lara looks stunned as Chelspan finishes its tale, explaining how the dragons felt deeply betrayed by the Duke family and Susspan, and how their descendants continued evil deeds. Chelspan concludes its story, declaring that the Duke family has been steeped in treachery for a long time, even causing Susspan's downfall. As Chelspan warns Lara to heed its words about the treacherous Dukes and Eskarl, Lara is shown collapsing into Eskarl's arms surrounded by white roses, stating it would cause Lara harm someday.